1983, Microsoft announced the development of Windows, a graphical user interface for MS-DOS. 1984, Apple releases the Macintosh 128K with the original Macintosh system software. 1985, Microsoft released Windows 1.0, introducing a simple graphics painting program and other basic applications. Macintosh System Software 3.0 is released, introducing features like Finder, System File, Clipboard, and Multi-Finder. 1987, Windows 2.0 was released, slightly more popular than its predecessor, introducing Microsoft Excel and Word for Windows. System 6 is released by Apple, adding features such as improved networking support and AppleScript. 1988, Windows 2.03 introduced overlapping windows, leading to a copyright lawsuit from Apple. 1990, Windows 3.0, the first version to achieve broad commercial success, was released. 1991, the Linux kernel is created and released by Linus Torvalds, offering a free and open-source alternative to Minix. System 7 is released by Apple, introducing features like virtual memory, personal file sharing, and QuickTime. 1992, the Linux kernel is relicensed under the GNU General Public License, GPL, and the Linux Foundation is formed. 1993, the Debian project is founded, aiming to be a free operating system. In the same year, Microsoft released Windows NT targeting businesses. 1994, the first version of Red Hat Linux is released, later evolving into Red Hat Enterprise Linux. 1995, Windows 95 was released, introducing the Start menu and support for 32-bit applications. System 7.5 is released by Apple, introducing features such as PowerPC native support, QuickDraw GX, and Open Transport. 1996, Linux kernel version 2.0 introduces support for multiprocessor systems. 1997, Mac OS 7.6 is released by Apple, featuring improved stability and performance. 1998, IBM announces extensive support for Linux. Microsoft released Windows 98. Mac OS 8 is released by Apple, introducing the Platinum interface, contextual menus, and support for USB. 1999, Windows 98 Second Edition was released. Mac OS 8.5 is released by Apple, introducing the Sherlock search tool and support for HFS+. 2000, SUSE Linux Enterprise Server is released. Microsoft released Windows 2000 for servers and workstations and Windows Me for consumers. Mac OS 9 is released by Apple, introducing features like multiple users, VoiceSprint password, and internet connection sharing. 2001, Windows XP is released, built on the Windows NT kernel. Ubuntu is also launched, aiming for a user-friendly desktop-oriented distribution. Mac OS X version 10.0, codenamed Cheetah, is released by Apple, marking a significant shift with a Unix-based architecture and Aqua interface. 2002, Mac OS X 10.1, codenamed Puma, is released by Apple, introducing significant performance improvements and the addition of the Finder sidebar. 2003, Media Center edition of Windows XP is released. Mac OS X 10.2, codenamed Jaguar, is released by Apple, introducing features such as Expose and iChat. 2004, Linux kernel version 2.6 is released, introducing improvements in performance and scalability. 2005, Mac OS X 10.4, codenamed Tiger, is released by Apple, introducing features like Spotlight, Dashboard, and Safari RSS. 2007, Windows Vista is released. Android, based on the Linux kernel, marks Linux's impact on the mobile OS market. Mac OS X 10.5, codenamed Leopard, is released by Apple, introducing features such as Time Machine, Spaces, and Boot Camp. 2008, Windows Server 2008 is introduced. 2009, Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 R2 are launched. Mac OS X 10.6, codenamed Snow Leopard, is released by Apple, focusing on performance and efficiency improvements rather than new features. 2011, OS X 10.7, codenamed Lion, is released by Apple, introducing features like Launchpad, Mission Control, and full-screen apps. 2012, Windows 8 and Windows Server 2012 are released. OS X 10.8, codenamed Mountain Lion, is released by Apple, bringing features such as iCloud integration, Notification Center, and Gatekeeper. 2013, Windows 8.1 and Windows Server 2012 R2 are released. OS X 10.9, codenamed Mavericks, is released by Apple, introducing features like Finder tabs, tags, and improved multi-display support. 2014, OS X 10.10, codenamed Yosemite, is released by Apple, featuring a major design overhaul with a flatter, more modern interface. 2015, Windows 10 is released, addressing UI shortcomings of Windows 8. OS X 10.11, codenamed El Capitan, is released by Apple, focusing on performance improvements and refinements to the user interface. 2016, macOS 10.12, codenamed Sierra, is released by Apple, introducing Siri integration, Universal Clipboard, and Apple Pay on the web. 2017, macOS 10.13, codenamed High Sierra, is released by Apple, focusing on under-the-hood improvements and introducing the Apple File System, APFS. 2018, macOS 10.14, codenamed Mojave, is released by Apple, introducing dark mode, stacks, and group FaceTime. 2019, macOS 10.15, codenamed Catalina, is released by Apple, introducing Sidecar, Catalyst, and the removal of iTunes. 2020, macOS 11.0, codenamed Big Sur, is released by Apple, marking a shift to version 11 and introducing a major design overhaul with iOS-like elements. Linux kernel 5.6 is released with updates including support for USB 4 and new hardware. 2021, macOS 12.0, codenamed Monterey, is released by Apple, introducing features like Universal Control, Focus Mode, and Live Text. Windows 11 is formally announced and released by Microsoft, introducing a centered start menu and taskbar. 2022, Windows 11 2022 Update 22H2 begins its phased rollout. The next annual update for Windows, codenamed Copper 23H2, is released with new features like an expanded widgets view. 2023, macOS 12.1, codenamed Sequoia, is released by Apple, bringing performance enhancements and compatibility improvements.